Hello, sweet angels, and welcome to the Angel Academy. My name is Amanda, your angelic expert and intuitive BFF, and we have our Monday messages today. I'm really excited, and as I was sitting with this energy for this week, it feels like there is calm within a storm. That is the best way to put it. And it's interesting because I just keep getting this message of like there's a ritual that your intuition, that your higher self wants you to take part in. Maybe it's a routine, maybe it's something that you always do. And perhaps you're like out of that certain thing or you haven't done it. And your intuition and your angels are just asking you to go ahead and stick to that routine, do whatever that ritual is. For example, for me, it's lighting a candle. Every time I go to do something, I always light a candle, and my candle just ran out. So I'm just getting this message that it's really important to ground yourself this week. And sometimes our rituals and routines allow us to ground. And it's not sometimes, our rituals and routines do allow us to ground. And I just want to take a moment to take a breath. Let's plant our feet on the ground. There are some messages that came through, and we're just going to continue to channel and bring through some messages as well. So, without further ado, planting the feet on the earth. Just taking a deep breath in and out, cracking your neck, doing whatever you need to do. Just angels and light beings that love us unconditionally. I'm just asking for you to lead and guide us. Just lead and guide these messages, what this beautiful collective needs to receive today for their highest good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and so it is. It's interesting because what they're saying is that there's a great crumbling taking place. They're giving me this image of like a crack going right down the center of the body. And with the crumbling, it's allowing for new things to rise. But there's this conversation earlier that they want me to bring up, and it's a conversation of peace. That things in your life that weren't built on a rock or on peace are gently falling away. And maybe not so gently, maybe it's a dramatic shift. And it's asking you to build peace within. Because when we look at things, when we look at our goals, when we look at what we're striving for, we're seeking outside of ourselves. We're saying, once I have this, once I achieve this goal, then I will experience something in a certain way. So, for example, once I have $10,000, I will feel prosperous. But the thing is, we have to look at it from the opposite viewpoint. We are prosperous, so thus the $10,000 is already mine. We are the manifest, like the idea. We are the energy. And it is through our awareness, it is through our aligned actions with the energy that is being birthed through us that we go out into the world. But when we start to place, and this is something that came through, when we start to place our value of our worth and our value of peace and happiness and joy on things outside of ourselves, no wonder why it's not coming in the way that you want it to come in, because we haven't truly understood the meaning of who we are and what exactly is peace and how we acquire or attain peace. And that is something that, is definitely a journey in and of itself, because I feel like for this collective that I'm tuning into is that we have these goals. I have goals on my altar. And even then, as I sit more and more with my higher self, with God, with the angels, they're asking me, why do you seek these things? And it's because I want to feel safe or free or expansive. But the thing is, freedom, peace, expansion, those are all things that I already have within me. And when I reach outside of myself and say that God is outside of me and God is not within me, then I am creating separation. And I pray that this makes sense, because I feel like stress is created in our life when, one, we put so much pressure on ourselves to perform, to meet an expectation, or to attain a goal or a result. And it's nice to have benchmarks, but it's very important for us to understand that the goal is peace. The goal, $10,000 might be nice, but it's actually peace that we seek. It's actually safety that we seek. It's freedom that we seek. And how can we start to detach ourselves from this need to hustle to achieve certain results and realize that the freedom that we seek, the peace that we seek, the expansion that we seek, we already have. It's like wearing a blindfold and just realize and walking through life blindfolded, only to take off the blindfold and realize that you've had everything this entire time. And that is really the core message this week is detachment, is surrender, is understanding that the things in your life that might be bringing you stress, first ask yourself, is it stress in terms of expansion? Like, is it excitement being mistaken for a nervous, anxious energy? Or is it stress because I'm burning myself out and I'm placing an expectation on the outcome and I'm putting this goal on a pedestal when it does not belong there? And it's really this week, the angels are asking you to come home to yourself, to build this sanctuary of peace within yourself. And realize that the things that fall away, the things that aren't happening in accordance to your plan, is because it's happening in accordance to a divine plan. And that no amount of success, external success, is going to bring us that everlasting peace that we look for. Peace can only be found, I feel, in the midst of surrender. When we surrender and we just allow ourselves to be present, when we really just stop moving from task to task, place to place, and we just sit and we say to ourselves, I am whole now, I am worthy now. And worth has been really coming up a lot, especially for this collective, because again, we look at these goals, we look at, there's a list of things like, like I have a list here of things that I've decided that I'm doing. And again, this is all beneficial, right? But it's balance, and to what extent, because the things that I'm seeking there, and this is, and let me say, I'm choosing my words wisely, because those are decisions that I have made to become and instead of seeking. But when we seek an outcome, when we seek a goal, we're searching outside of ourselves instead of realizing that everything that I could have ever wanted already lives within me. And in order to feel worthy of something, I feel like I have to attain those things in order to feel worthy of love, or in order to feel validated or good about myself. And that could be the furthest thing from the truth, is you don't have to prove yourself to be worthy. You were born worthy. And I know that might sound so cliche, but it's true. And it's hard to wrap our head around it because logically we've been conditioned and programmed to believe that in order to feel worthy of love, we have to look a certain way, we have to dress a certain way. And in order to be worthy in our career, we have to be validated by our accolades and by the titles that we hold. But what is worth to you? What is worth to you? What does it mean to be worthy? How can you start to see yourself as worthy? You know, and that is a very big question, very ambiguous question, maybe. But if we look at worth, I feel like we just look at the things that make us us. And you could realize that you're worthy just because you are, because of the things that you do every day, because you do put your best foot forward, and you're worthy because you even make mistakes, because you're trying. Like, mistakes show that you're trying, you're making an effort. And I feel like the angels this week are asking us to, one, hold ourselves with grace, but to really redefine how we sit and how we view worth. And it's not about the achievements, it's not about the things that we have. I feel like worth is about our connection with God, it's about our connection with ourselves, and how deeply we can enter into that relationship, how deeply we can come back to a state of peace when we feel stressed or if we feel anxious. Um, and it's something that we practice over and over again because, again, like when we lay on the same side of a bed, it develops an imprint. The same thing happens within our mind, is that when we've been told that we have to have a certain thing or have to achieve something in order to feel peace in our lives or in order to feel worthy of whatever it is, we have to recondition ourselves. We have to deprogram what we've been conditioned to believe and start to upload a new experience. So the angels really want me to dive in a little bit deeper on what it means to navigate and to navigate stress and to sit in this like prosperity of God. And I get this, and we're just going to go with it because I just feel called to talk about this for this collective. So, navigating stress. First, we really need to become aware of when our bodies are tensing up and what stress feels like in our body, and notice when we're in that stress pattern. And something that we can do is really remember our practices. Going back to the beginning of the video about rituals and routines, our rituals and routines help to structure and allow for our energy to channel and to flow. So when we don't have those in place, our energy can feel a little chaotic, and then stress might be more easily manifested because we don't feel as balanced and secure. Our routines are also an energy of safety and security. Um, and as we navigate through stressful situations, awareness, but then it's also coming back to yourself, the awareness to come back, also discernment of what am I really feeling? Is my brain just labeling this as stress because it feels uncomfortable and I feel heightened and a little tight? Or is this just excitement because I'm allowing myself to stretch outside of my comfort zone? And that's something that is, from the person to the person. Only you will know that answer. But it's important to know the difference because either way, we can still hold our hand or hold whatever part of us is feeling uncomfortable through that stressful situation. Whether that stress and our nervous system is feeling uncomfortable because we're stepping into something larger than ourselves, something that we haven't really done before, but it's allowing us to grow and to really learn a new perspective about life. What is one step that you can take today? Like, um, what is something that you can do to really tend to your own needs? Treating yourself like a precious object does make you strong. And that is really how we overcome this obstacle of stress, this feeling of stress. We are not the stress. We are holy, we are divine, we are balanced. But when we take on the emotion, when we take on the feeling, that is when the water gets a little murky. So it's really about the awareness to detach yourself from the feeling and observe it from a third party standpoint and just ask, like, how can I best navigate through this? Do I need to go take a walk? Do I need to go do something that brings me joy? Or do I need to just take one step in that direction and let myself sit there for a little bit and stretch, and just hold that discomfort until I'm ready to expand even more? Now, going back to this energy of prosperity is peace. I just said prosperity before, but I have here from the messages from the angels is that prosperity is peace. The prosperity that we seek, the abundance that we seek, the financial freedom that we seek, right? When we look at it, because I'm talking to a lot of my business owners here, and also, I mean, who wouldn't want to make more money, right? Um, what we're really asking for when we seek out financial means is peace. We're seeking security. We're seeking freedom. We're seeking expansion. But at the end of it, it's peace of never having to worry about how is this bill going to get paid, never, managing your checkbooks, your checks and balances. And I feel like when we understand that the end goal for pretty much everything in life is peace, because peace produces joy, peace produces love. When we're in a peaceful, safe state, we can experience the world in a drastically different way than we can when we're surviving. And so when we can work backwards from that energy of peace, we realize that we are the abundance, we are the prosperity, that the peace is how deeply, again, like we can connect with ourselves and how we can start to live from the inside out. How we first come to ourselves to build the home, to tend to our own inner garden before going out and venturing into the world. And one of the ways peace is cultivated is through solitude. And I'm not saying what I'm saying is that in solitude, we can hear the voice of God. We can hear our own Holy Spirit that courses through our veins. When we're constantly surrounded with noise, it makes it very hard to hear the voice of our intuition. It makes it very difficult to connect with the one that dwells within us, our soul, our spirit. And so, to help us cultivate an energy of peace this week, what the angels are saying, because peace does lead to prosperity. Peace will lead to the manifestation of financial freedom and abundance. But it's how deeply can we return to peace, even when we feel stressed, even when we feel rocked by whatever it is that we're going through, understanding that we are not our environment, we're not our feelings, we are not even our body. The body is the vehicle, the body is the temple. And so peace is found again in those moments of solitude, in those routines and rituals. Peace is found when we take the time to really just tend to our own needs. And that could look like taking 10 to 15 minutes in the morning to go on that walk, spending those moments, that you have throughout the day just with yourself, maybe in prayer. Maybe you just sit with your hands on your heart and you just breathe. How can you find your way back to peace this week? How can we find our way back to this energy of safety? Because if you think about it and you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, safety is the foundation of building. And peace is safety. Peace tells the body, hey, I feel safe. And that is how we build from everything. That's how everything else is built. So peace is the foundation. Peace brings the safety. So how can we bring peace to our minds when our thoughts go awry? How can we bring peace to our bodies when our nervous system starts to become dysregulated? How can we bring peace to our soul when we feel like we're stuck in fear? These are the questions that the angels want you to sit with this week. And then, is there anything else that the angels that you want to say? Okay, what they're saying is that they understand that sometimes things might be hard to grasp right away, but the more you just take what resonates with you, it could be like a little thing like this, that's enough. A mustard seed of faith moves mountains. So they're saying that take whatever resonates for you in this video. It could just be one sentence, one word. It could be the word peace. And let that lead and guide you this week. Let that be a prayer that you create with. Maybe you develop your own prayer, your own routine and ritual around the energy of peace. And just notice how you start to shift, because the more and more you can bring yourself back to a state of peace, the less control the outside world has on you, the less effect the outside world has on you, the less you will compare, the less you will self-sabotage, the less you will feel like you don't have what you've already, you don't have what God has already given you. And you'll also notice that Your desires will gently be able to manifest into your life because you're no longer blocking. You're no longer trying to survive. You've surrendered and you feel safe. And when we feel safe, our guard is down, our heart is open, and that is when the miracles of God can enter. So my prayers go out to you this week. I'm just praying so much love, so much light. And if this video resonated for you at all, just please be sure to let me know. I love commenting and interacting with you guys. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the meditation.